We've survived for over 200 days in our Minecraft hardcore world as a dwarf building an underground empire. Up until now, we've not really had a reason to need iron, because all the iron we ever needed, we could have got from mining. However, some of the projects that we've got coming up are going to need a boatload of iron. So we're turning our attention today to building an iron farm, but we're going to decorate it so that it fits in the world, and we're going to develop some lore behind the farm so that it absolutely fits the story of what we're trying to achieve. So strap yourself in, guys, but before we get into this video, please consider subscribing and maybe liking the video, as it helps out a ton. With that said, let's roll the video. So the first thing that we're going to work on today is getting an iron farm up and running, because we have a lot of projects, but a lot of them require so much iron that it would just simply take us hours, if not days. In fact, it would probably take us weeks to actually gather all the iron we need. So we're going to set up a iron farm in our base. However, as you guys know, we're going to make it dwarven themed, and I think we're going to go ahead and do it over here, and it's going to look really cool. So the first thing we're going to have to do is just kind of flatten out this area so that we have a nice area to work with. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, so we've dug the area out. The next step is we actually need to completely dig out a full area where we're actually going to build the iron farm, because the iron farm is not going to be visible to the naked eye, but what is going to be the build around it. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that there's no sort of gaps below where the level of where the farm is going to be, and we need to dig out a large area. So before we do that, we first need to go and repair the pickaxe. So we need to head over to the skeleton farm and repair our pick. And we're back. I actually think we're probably going to need to repair this pickaxe again at some point because of what we're about to actually do. But in order for it to work, we have to make sure that there's no spaces underneath the actual farm. So behind this rock, I'm going to have to dig out a 32 by 32 block room. Then I'm going to actually have to dig all the way down about 15 blocks, then fill it up again just to make sure there's no small holes or caves where the iron golem can spawn, ruining the farm. So it's going to be a time lapse. By the way, if you're going to do this in your own world, in your own underground cave base, and you want to do a similar design iron farm, you'll probably only realistically need to dig out about a 20 by 20 room. I'm just being overly cautious because I just don't want to spend too many hours digging out a smaller room and then having to troubleshoot when the farm doesn't work. So I thought if I just do a bigger room to start with and then dig all the way down, I don't know, it just... to me, in my brain, it just made it seem easier, okay? I just started recording the time-lapse for this video, and I came across a stone diamond. Aren't these supposed to be, like, really rare? Like, I know they're not, like, super rare, but because they can spawn up to, like, Y11. But in this, in 1.20, aren't these supposed to be super rare? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we should name it in the anvil mithril. Isn't that a cool idea? We could, like, place that in the throne. Wouldn't that be so cool? I've also had a thought that I'm probably doing this the really difficult way. I feel like the easier way to do this would be to just come over to this corner, dig down about 10 blocks or so, then just dig out another 32 by 32 room, and then that'll be able to tell us where all the holes are that need patching up, rather than digging out the whole room and then refilling it again. I know I said I wasn't going to cut corners, but I think I am. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to work and hope we don't die. And this is exactly why we needed to clear a room out below where we're going to build the spawner, because this would have absolutely ruined our iron farm and it would have not worked. So the golems would have just been spawning down here, probably getting washed down there, and then they would have just repeated spawning down here. So unfortunately, we now have the really infuriating and daunting task of actually just heading down into this section And we probably don't need to actually head all the way down into there. Thinking about it, we probably just need to cap it off at the bottom, and then we can actually go ahead and just fill the rest in. But we are actually going to have to fill in this entire room. I'm going to be real honest here. I think we may have bitten off more than we can actually chew, but I've started it now, and you guys know I'm going to see this to the end, no matter how long this actually takes. But we need to go and get more blocks because we ran out, so we're going to have to put stuff away and grab some blocks. So we're going to have to put all of you into there, and then, oh, the gold as well. So we're back down underground, and one thing I realized very quickly when I came into here is realizing that this area is a lot more open than I actually anticipated. Now we are going to have to fill this stretch in, I believe, because it's directly under where the farm's going to be. But I think iron golems can't spawn on slabs if you put down the slabs on like the sort of bottom layer. So what I'm thinking of doing is, rather than filling this layer in, is we just use bottom slabs and we just place down a layer of slabs, so that would prevent any iron golem spawns in this area, whilst, you know, single-handedly saving us time, meaning that we didn't actually have to put down or fill in the entire area. So let's just do that, and then we'll carry on filling in the area. In theory, that should prevent any iron golems from spawning and down there, which should allow us to now fill in this area, and the farm should, in theory, work full. So I've made life hard for myself. A very slight issue or flaw in my design, in that the collection area and killing area is actually below ground for the iron golems, which means the iron is going to be collected under this level, which kind of screws up our plans, because what I should have done is built it so that the iron golem killing area is at this level, so then we can bring the iron out into this area, and then it goes into like a quote-unquote sorting area. But before we can actually build this iron farm, we're going to need some wood. I'd also like to just take this moment to point out that we actually took the time, whilst we were actually farming the blocks to actually place down in the previous segment, I actually used this opportunity to dig out one of the walls in preparation for decorating this area, because I actually do want to get this entranceway done at some point, and I want to improve it because I've had a lot of ideas about how we can improve this outside. And with a fresh batch of logs gathered, we can head back into our base and start making this iron farm. Well, we finally managed to finish off, and I actually decided to dig up. We're not actually on the same Y level as we were previously. I actually decided to dig up as high as I could go, and then actually build the room up and fill it up with blocks. You can see the previous diamond that we actually unearthed. We've actually built up about 4 or 5 blocks and filled it in by hand. Yes, I know, I'm an idiot. But we did that purely because I was worried about it being too close to the bits underground. So by doing this, we're ensuring that the golems are less likely to spawn in those cubby holes underneath. And because I wanted the golem killing level to be on a similar level to where the actual ground is, so that we can actually just bring the iron out at the same level and then organize it. Although, to be honest, we could probably still do it. We could probably still do with having this about 4 or 5 blocks higher, but I'm not doing it anymore. I'm sick and tired of mining. So we're just gonna get on, and we've got the materials. But I wanted to quickly show you that we actually have managed to catch a zombie that spawned in the darkness of a little pocket that we forgot to fill. So we have a zombie for the farm, so it's fantastic. But now we actually have to build it, so let's get to it. Now we know where the villagers are going to go. What we want to go ahead and do is come to the adjacent block to the beds and then just dig 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then all you're going to want to do is just dig this area out and you'll have your golem killing area. It's not a particularly very fast farm, but it doesn't have to be, because the whole purpose of it is that it'll build up iron as we're playing the game, and as we're AFKing and doing other things and building and digging out large areas, this will always be constantly producing iron. The only little bit I had issue with in production was this area here. So if I just go ahead and show you guys, it is working as intended at the moment. But the issue is if I just knock this out real quickly, I think it's down here, isn't it? Is, as you can see, the way that I had to actually produce this was I had to have a block skip, like so. And then, so we might actually lose items to them just sitting on the stone there. So I don't know if this is going to be 100% efficient, but it looks like it does pick up enough speed. I think it should be fine. Honestly, I think that should suffice for now. And yeah, so we now have an iron farm complete. We've got 10 iron ingots already, and we've only just got it set up. Well, guys, thank you for watching. I've been the Mickey. I'm only joking. I had you there, didn't I? I know I did. No, now we actually have to decorate this entire area, which is a bit I've been kind of dreading, because I have come to understand that I am not a fantastic decorator. I like how this has kind of become our undesignated area for, like, overlooking the kingdom and kind of talking about what's going to be done. So let me talk to you about the narrative of this area and kind of what this is going to become, because this does tie in with a super smelter, which, yes, I know I've said I'm going to build it for like 3 episodes now. It is coming in the future, in the next couple of episodes. It's just I really needed to get this iron farm up and running, and I thought I was going to get it done much sooner than this. But the way this is going to work is I really wanted to find a way to tie the iron farm in to the lore of the world. You know me, I like to world build, I like to make everything make sense, especially in accordance to the Tolkien universe. So the way that this is going to kind of tie in is that these are deliveries from Dane Ironfoot. He's not really alive at this point in the story, if we're technically going off the lore, if you follow the Lord of the Rings kind of universe, at the establishment of Moria, which is kind of the idea behind this base. Is he's technically not alive yet, but for the sake of the narrative he is. And the Iron Hills are basically the area which is, you know, the super duper kind of production for iron. So these are deliveries from Dane Ironfoot, and as you can see over there, I've started to build a chute, and this chute is going to be where the iron deliveries come in, and then we're going to have this kind of like whole processing plant, and we're going to build like a crane that's going to be like lifting iron down into like other parts of the base. And then what we're actually going to do is, if you can see this area over here, this area is going to become roughly where the super smelter is, but I don't want to talk too much about the smelter, because that's going to be an insane build. If I could actually manage to get what's in my head out of my head, that's going to be its own build. So we need to just get on and decorate this area, and I have no idea where to start other than let's continue building this little shoot area. Okay, we finally got the delivery system built, or at least just the outline of the wall. So basically the iron is going to come tumbling down here, and then we now have to have a collection point because iron is really heavy when it gets delivered. We're going to do iron blocks that get delivered and they kind of tumble down here, but obviously as iron falls down it's going to cause damage, and I think what we do is we actually make the floor, or we build like a special floor with a bit of texture in it out of deep slate, because as we established in a previous episode, in this particular series, or in this particular run, deep slate is kind of the sort of corrupted rock of the Balrog that we built in the last episode, and it's a much harder rock, which obviously it is harder than normal stone anyway, so it kind of makes sense in this world to do that. I've just placed down the floor and kind of had a thought about it, and I actually think when we get a bit more iron, I'm going to turn this into a cart delivery system rather than a drop where they would, because it doesn't make sense that they would just drop the iron down a chute, because the iron would break and dent and it would break the pipe. And I know, look, I appreciate that I'm bringing too much logic into this series, but this is the kind of level of thought that I kind of want to put into everything. So I think this needs to be some minecarts that are kind of going up and down and delivering blocks of iron. But I've had an idea about how we can actually create a system that would theoretically move all the iron blocks, and it's gonna not be all around the base at the very beginning, because obviously we don't have time in this episode, but I am gonna build it and show you guys the idea, but I'm not gonna explain it yet. But before we actually get on to doing that, I have realized the iron farm is broken. We've been on 57 ingots for about half an hour now, which would tell me that the iron golems have stopped spawning, because that normally happens when one has spawned in a cubby in a pocket nearby, and it's basically the game is saying there's an iron golem spawned, so we can't spawn another. So I now have to spend a while trying to figure out. Now I'm thinking, I thought it might have been down here, but it's not down there. So I'm going to be right back, because this may take me a while. Almost an hour later, I think I know what the issue is. And oh my god, if this is the issue, I am going to absolutely hate myself. So basically, the villagers need to have eyesight on the zombie when they sleep and during the day. So basically, all we have to do is, I think all we actually needed to do was just lift the trapdoor up one block. Oh, I see fire. I think we've fixed it. I think we've actually fixed it. Let's check the chest. Yes! We've only bloody gone and done it. Da 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 da. Happy dance. Da 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 da. Happy dance. Oh, I was so worried. I was so worried that I was going to have to move the farm. So we are at the point where we've kind of started to build the workstation area for the workers that are working on the import of the iron. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to hide some chests in this area, make it kind of look like a storage and workman's area, and then we're going to actually redirect the iron storage so that we have a lot of iron storage, just so we don't get overrun and end up with an overflow with one chest. But before we do that, there's another thing that we need to build, because once the iron gets delivered here, we have no way of transporting it around or moving it around the base, but we are going to need a serious amount of wood for this build, so let's go and gather some wood. Okay, we are back from gathering a couple of stacks of resources, and I want to finish this off very, very quickly. And the iron farm looks like it's still working, and yep, still dying. I just wanted to double check that. Looks a bit more like a work area now. This area still needs a bit of work. Maybe we just add a campfire, maybe up. No, that doesn't look right, does it? What if we put down like, oh wait, we don't have any trapdoors. What if we just put down like a spruce log here instead? Kinda works, although it doesn't really, it's not really a good decorative block. We'll leave it for now. So I'm actually down by the nether portal, as you can see, and I'm down here because we are about to embark on building the next big thing in our world. Well, I say a big thing, it's a tall thing, and this is actually where we're going to dig out and build a crane. Yes, we're going to build a dwarven inspired crane that's going to look like it moves all of the iron away from the iron delivery point into other areas of the base, and obviously as the episodes move on and we build this world up, it will expand and it will improve. But let's just time-lapse the hell out of this and get to work building it. So if you love building time-lapses, pay attention, because we're about to hit the fan. I'm very much aware that that last statement did not make sense. We are about to hit the fan. Everybody knows what the saying is supposed to be, okay? Anyway, roll the time-lapse. And it looks like after doing all of that build, the zombies despawned and the farm stopped working again. So we're probably going to have to use a name tag just to prevent the zombie from spawning. Normally when they're in boats, they don't despawn, but it's obviously just causing a bit of an issue. So we'll have to use a name tag, but I'm not worried about that right now because there's one more detail that I'd like to add to this build on the surface that we're going to go and do first. So let's head to the surface and I'll talk through what we're going to do. So we're up at the top now and we're going to build an area where the Iron Hill Dwarves are going to be delivering the blocks. Now obviously we have a minecart system now rather than just a hole in the ground, because the original idea was that they were just going to like drop the iron down like a pipe and then it would come out at the other end, but that didn't make very much sense logically. It just seemed like it would just break the iron. So we're actually going to go for a system where minecarts actually go down underground, but we're not going to fully connect this system up just yet. We're just going to make it for sure for now, and then we may actually come back and revisit this in the future because we've got far too many projects that we want to get on with. And I'm done, and I'm super chuffed with the outcome of this. Now it's not overly complicated. I didn't want to make it too busy outside because at the end of the day I didn't want to focus too much on making the outside too busy, and obviously I didn't want to spend too much time on the build. So all we've got is we've got a simple collection system where the carts will rock up, they'll get pulled in, and then the blocks of iron will be lifted out by this small hand-operated crane, and then it'll basically place it in. Now, what I actually should have done is done the track down there so that it looks like it can lift it straight in, but it's fine. We'll leave it as it is for now because it works, and basically it goes underground. Obviously, like every good level designer and world builder, we've not completed it and nobody should really see down there. But the bridge is kind of the thing I'm most proud of, and I kind of wanted to go for something a little bit different. I know everybody with bridges kind of tends to do like wooden medieval bridges, but obviously because we're dwarves, I wanted to do it out of stone, and I wanted to be really sort of different and a little bit edgy and a little bit quirky to kind of show off my personality. So what I did was did this kind of castle effect, but rather than doing it traditionally, I did it with stone fences and just made it look as if it's just something a bit more quirky. And then I decided to add in a bit of a bulge in the bridge just to kind of give it that height and give the kind of thing some texture on this straight part. And then obviously all we'd have to do really to finish this off is kind of just do a path, a rough pathway. It doesn't have to be anything amazing, and it just comes up here, up the hill, and then out of the render distance of the mountain where we can no longer see it, and we just bring it over here, and then we bring it in a diagonal to go around the trees. Thank you, Adobe Creative Cloud Generative AI. I appreciate that. So yeah, anyway, we are now done. As you can see, we finished the path and it's all looking good. So we can head inside and just do the last little bits to the inside of the build. Well, it seems like all is well in the world again, and the farm should now be working. Yep. Okay, that's all good and dandy, so we can leave that now. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I've been the Mike James, also known as It's Me, Mickey T, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.